History Highlights has been available to the public since 1999 and served as a standard text in schools throughout the Bahamas. The new book is designed primarily for visitors to the Bahamas. This presentation illustrates the broad sweep of our colorful history while providing a reminder of many interesting characters that came to the island in the past. As such, it can be of value for the purposes of both education and entertainment. Alan came to Nassau in 1971 and was head of history at St. Andrew's School for 40 years. As staff supervisor of St. Andrew's School Historical Society, he produced sound and light presentations in the school auditorium of Pirates in the Bahamas, 1987, Columbus in the Bahamas, 1992, and a pageant of Bahamian history, 1997. In addition to a slideshow, these productions included reenactments by staff and students of the high school of significant events. The pageant was later performed at the Bahamas Historical Society headquarters. Alan will have books available, and yes, his books are available. And we would like to welcome Mr. Alan Murray tonight, and thank you so much for being here. When I first saw your book, I was like, wow, this is just wonderful, and I'm sure the Bahamian students as well as the tourists will like it because it's snippets. So you could just know it. And we have these snippets right in here too. So your book might be a good guide for us with one or two things that we need to include. So thank you very much, and without further ado, please welcome Mr. Alan Murray.
I was freezing earlier on, right?
So you get hot?
I got hot, right?
Give you some heat.
No, but that'll be fine. That'll be fine. I don't know if you can hear me without the mic. I am used to projecting at least that distance in a classroom and also bounding across the room. So if it's okay with you, I won't use the mic, right?
That's fine.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
That sounds all right?
Okay, so we find out, but is it okay for the recording?
Yeah.
Without the mic?
Oh, is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, this is a larger audience than I've seen before. Last time I put on a show here, there were 4 times as many people on the stage as there were in the audience.
Wow.
And most of them were parents, right? This was St. Andrews put on this pageant of Bahamian history. 50 students up there on the stage reenacting. When my book was launched, so you're here tonight. Thank you very much. My aim tonight is not to educate. There's a couple of people in the second or third row back there I tried to educate in the past, varying degrees of success. So this book is primarily designed for visitors to Bahamas. And so to help you get in the right frame of mind, to imagine that you are a tourist. You're curious about the history of the country you're visiting. You may even wonder what it was like to be a visitor to the islands in years gone by. If only you had a little guidebook to carry with you when you go to see the sights. You could carry it home as a souvenir. And fortunately for you, here is, well, you have it in your hand there. It's called a Colourful Guide to Souvenirs, a Colourful Guide for Visitors. Right. Now sit back and enjoy the show. If you like it, you can pick up a copy of the book and carry it home as a souvenir. So who were they? Where did they come from? Why did they come here? What were their experiences? How did they influence the development of the island? The answers to these questions will serve as a guide to the colorful history of the Bahamas. These Stone Age fishermen and farmers were members of an Arawak-speaking tribe. They began arriving by sea from modern-day Cuba and Haiti around 1000 AD. Arawaks had been steadily migrating northward to the larger islands of the Caribbean from their ancestral home in Venezuela. About this time, European civilization was in its Middle Ages, and the Viking Leif Erikson had landed in what he called Vinland, modern Newfoundland. Arawaks lived in fear of fierce warriors of the Carib tribe who were known to torture and reputed to eat their captives. Some Arawaks stayed in Puerto Rico to fight back. Others went as far away as possible to the Bahamas. Primitive they may have been, but these island people, as they call themselves, lived peacefully in the Bahamas for generations. They also had fun. Any special event was cause for celebration. They enjoyed ball games, singing and dancing, with plenty of cassava beer. Sadly, however, scarcely a trace of them remains to be seen. Cousteau had this to say: "The sea, once it casts its spell, holds one." From sophisticated underwater exploration to simple snorkeling, the Bahamas offers visitors some of the finest waters in the world. The Middle Ages gave way to the Renaissance. European horizons were expanding. A race began to find a safe sea route to trade with India and China. By 1488, the Portuguese were in the lead, steadily sailing around Africa, heading east. The Italian navigator had been working on his theory for years, but had failed to convince the King of Portugal's experts. Modern-day sailors might enjoy an adventure in the wake of the great explorer. However, finding the exact location of the first landfall in the New World would be a problem. Even today, it is an issue of heated debate among experts and islanders alike. So it was that the Bahamas was placed at the forefront of world history. The explorers came face to face with people from a whole new world. The visitors sailed on to Rum Cay, Long Island, and Crooked Island. The sights were strange: exotic plants and birds, an iguana, and natives smoking tobacco. But there were no spices, no gold, and no precious stones. Columbus left the Bahamas after only 2 weeks, never returned. Columbus and his explorers were quickly followed by conquistadors, ruthless veterans of Spain's wars with the Muslims. They were determined to make their fortunes by any means necessary. In 1494, at Tordesillas in Spain, an extraordinary deal was struck. On the basis of their discoveries, the rulers of Spain and Portugal, with the blessing of the Pope, agreed to divide the world between them. The Spanish would colonize the west, Portuguese would take the east. Although his expedition failed to find the fountain, it did come across a large fragrant land which de Leon named Florida. Visitors to the island of South Bimini today can find a spring, and while it may not make old people young again, it is reputed to have healing properties. Thousands were captured and forced to do hard labor in the Spanish settlements of Cuba and Hispaniola. Bishop Las Casas, officially appointed protector of the Indians, kept records of Spanish atrocities in the Americas. In 1520, Las Casas sponsored an expedition to search the Bahamas for survivors. They found only 13 Lucans still living. Not for the last time in the history of the Americas did greed spawn genocide.